welcome to The Haunted Isle, an actual play podcast series of Freeleague's Vaesen. I am Ali, Ghost of Sunny, on various platforms, and I am joined by the wonderful
JStation64, hello!
Hi, and you are joining us for the second part of our second adventure with Nicholas.
It's a 2-2.
It's 2-2, 2 for 2.
What's the adventure called?
It's called The Witch Bottles.
The Witch Bottles. Was I supposed to know that? Sorry, I
You have been told that.
I know that they're called Witch Bottles, but yeah.
I don't think I told you what
Cool.
the episode's arc was called, but yeah, it's called The Witch Bottles. So yeah, if you haven't heard the first episode, you probably want to go and listen to that, because otherwise it will make very little sense. It'll still be enjoyable, but it will mean nothing. So, welcome.
We're going to do a roundup of, if you have listened to it, there's a refresher.
So, freshly back from the wilds of the Scottish Isles, Nicholas found his way back to London. He was relaxing in his club when he was asked by his good friend Timothy to come and help, because one of Timothy's, I was going to say historical acquaintances, I mean like acquaintance with a shared history, a shared interest in history, needed his help.
A colleague? Well, not already a colleague.
A colleague is a good word.
Yeah. Like an associate.
An associate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had theft from their fancy flats. They then went to investigate the prime suspect and found out that they also had their witch bottle stolen. And now...
Which bottle?
Which bottle?
Which bottle?
That bottle.
As a very brief aside, I had a look at where Eileen Moor was on a map recently, and it is very far out to sea. It's way further out than I thought it was. I thought it was like just off the coast, but no, it's like, I think you said it was a couple of hours of boating,
yeah,
like in a straight line towards it off the coast, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sufficiently far that you'd need to live there. You'd need to live there full time for a crew of men.
Yeah.
And you would need to come home for 2 weeks for it to be worth it.
Yeah.
So yeah, super far.
And also I feel like you need a second lighthouse when you got past that one before you got to land, because it's so far away from where you're warning.
But I think I could be wrong about that. Like, I don't think the purpose of it is for people who were going to land. I think it's for people who are going past and around.
So they can see where land is still.
Yeah, because otherwise you just think that was the ocean.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I mean, I don't know. Like,
experts in lighthouse arrangement as we are.
Experts in nothing.
Speaking of experts in nothing, Nicholas, it's time to shine.
So, how do you think Nicholas feels that the first part of the evening has gone?
Very successfully. He has deemed that both Gertie and Gareth have collected these items, that they are potentially made of ancient soil or something along those lines, and are known colloquially as witch bottles. There was a collection of 4 of them. That there has been and they both believe the other has taken the part of their collection, and both of them are likely mistaken that there was a third party somewhere, somehow, having gotten hold of them. So yeah, I mean, I think like he's not bored. He's on board with this little twist. So he's not finding this as dreary as he had found the initial reports of the very clear-cut murder on Eileen Moor. This is much more intriguing. Cool. So, what's the haps?
I mean, that's up to you, my dear. What's Nicholas's next step?
So where do we leave him?
So I think we left him just stepping out of Gareth's apartment.
Oh, we had a quick word with Timothy.
Yeah.
Then he will ask Timothy, both this Gertie and Gareth. Timmy, what do you think the chances are that we can get them both in the same room? I feel like both of these people might have two halves of a single puzzle piece to where these pieces might have gone to.
I mean, I have seen them in the same room together several times. It rarely ends well, in my experience. Their feuds are legendary.
But with an expert negotiator and mediator like myself in the room, I'm sure it'll go smoothly.
You're welcome to try. I can perhaps go somewhere else and...
Well, how about you pop back in there and get Gareth on board, and I'll head over to Gertie and get them on board, and we can arrange at a non equal footing, perhaps at your place.
My place?
Yes, it's not far from here, and it's equal ground, secure.
It's Timothy's sanctuary.
Good whiskey.
Good whiskey. Oh my god. I'll ask Gareth, and I'll meet you back home.
Good man. I'll off to go see Gertie.
And you before you go, you just see Timothy's shoulders like slump.
Give him a big old pat on the back.
Poor Timothy. So go to Gertie.
Yes, go and see Gertie. Gertrude, my dear, I have been to go and see that scoundrel Gareth, as you had mentioned.
And do you have my bottle back?
No. Well, here's the interesting thing. I think that there is something going on here that not even Gareth knows about. And I think...
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Exactly, you're 100% correct. And I think the best way... the best way to clear all this up and to get you your bottle back would be to get the two of you together, and you can overhear what he says to me, and we can get this all sorted out and straightened out. What do you say?
I don't see why I should have anything to do with that man. And I thought that you were an expert.
This isn't for that man, dear Gertie. This is for me. This is to... This is for me to help you get your... I believe Gav referred to them as witch bottles back.
Typical oversimplest. Patriarchal. Yes, my property I would like to recover.
Well, you come and meet me at Timothy's place. He's agreed to get us some drinks together, and we'll be able to see if we can sort all this mess out.
And she'll sort of look at you, like, at the mention of going to Timothy's and having a drink, a little bit suspiciously.
Okay.
Do a persuasion check. Or
Persuasion.
Check. Manipulation.
Manipulation,
Might
that's
be the
the
way
one.
to go.
Yeah. Would you is this a lie?
No.
I do get +2 to deceptive rolls. I don't feel like this is...
It's not fully deceptive.
No, it's just stretching the truth rather than... So I get... Manipulation is 2, empathy is 3, so I get 5 dice altogether.
Whether or not we consider every time.
No successes.
No.
Actually, I'm going to try and push the roll, which is not something we've done before.
Do it.
I feel like I need to get them both in the same room together. So, that basically means that I get to roll again, and if it fails, there's a cost. Is that right?
Let's find out. Okay, so we found the relevant page within the book, and when you push the roll, if you failed a test, you can kind of muster your strength and give it one more try. It can only happen once per action, and you must do it after failing a test. When pushing your roll, you suffer a condition. If you use physique or precision, it's a physical condition. If it's logical or empathy, you choose a mental one.
So if it's not that you get a condition if you fail, you get a condition just for doing it.
Just for doing it, yeah.
Okay, well I'll leave that for now on my failed conviction to get her to come to.
Okay, so she's So you've asked her to go to drinks.
Yes, yeah. At Timothy's.
At Timothy's. And so what was the last thing you said to her?
I said, yeah, come to Timothy's for a drink. We'll get your situation with the witch bottle sorted out.
And she'll sort of go, oh my dear. I'm awfully flattered. But Timothy's a very dear boy. I'm sure you're a charming gentleman.
He has good whiskey.
But I'm sure. But frankly,
You can see his collection.
And she'll take Nicholas's hand and she'll say, I'm not that sort of girl. But if you can promise me you will be on your best behaviour, I will accompany you.
I will guarantee you not only my best behaviour, but that of Timothy and Gareth as well.
You're not a miracle worker. I don't think that man would know good behaviour if his life depended on it.
Well, given this evening's turns, it might very well be that way.
What?
Alright, hey, come on, let's go.
There has been so far no risk to life and limb whatsoever.
Nicholas is having a good time. He's enjoying the drama.
Nicholas is stirring the pot, man.
Definitely.
Like, such a drama queen.
100%.
She definitely thinks that you're trying to wingman between her and Timothy. She's at least 40 years older than Timothy.
Hey, no shame. Whatever you're into.
Oh dear. Okay, so you persuade Gertie to accompany you back to Timothy's.
Mm-hmm.
When you walk in, you see Gareth. He is sort of poking at some of the artifacts that Timothy has around his parlour.
Yeah.
And Timothy's sort of hovering nearby. So, would you another drink? Oh, please have a seat. Have a seat, my good man. Please have a seat.
What kind of sitting situation do we have? Are we in front of the fireplace? Is it a dining table? Like, what's Timothy got to offer us?
Timothy got to offer? Well, it's very much a. So the dining room has kind of been converted into his office.
Right.
So it has a table, but it's covered in books and papers and bits of research, things that he's been working on. The parlour is kind of where you would take guests, and it's kind of got a bit of a battered settee, a couple of battered armchairs, fireplace, but it's a bit scruffy.
Cool. I'm glad that you offered the second room, because I'll tell you, Nicholas's first option was to clear that table in a very dramatic fashion. So yes, we'll walk in, probably dramatically.
He's bringing so much flash heart energy.
He is. Timothy, Gareth, to the, what did you say it was called, the drawing room?
Parlour.
Parlour. To the parlour, if you will. Gertrude, after you.
Thank you.
And we'll indicate them to sit on either side, as per the enmity. And we'll stand dramatically in front of the fireplace.
Timothy's going to go and hover by the door.
That's fine.
With the drink.
Thank you, Timothy. Well, Gareth, Gertrude, I know that your enmity to each other has led to this situation where, Gareth, you claim that Gertie has stolen your goods, and Gertie, you claim that Gareth has stolen yours. And I and I have things to say. And I put it to you that this is not the case. That neither of you have been broken into by the other, and instead you have both been robbed by a third party.
So, when you say initially that you said that she robbed you, and you
Yeah.
said that he robbed you, they both look at each other and draw themselves up in a "well, I never."
I was hoping to keep on talking fast enough for that not to beat the land too much.
So then they look at you, and they'll sort of glance at Timothy, like, "So you say. What evidence do you have for this?"
Well, first and foremost, the break-ins at both locations. Now, I put it to you, both Gareth and Gertie, that neither of you are... What?
Carry on.
And I mean this in the most kind way. Brutal enough in order to force open a lock in the way that I saw at both of these homes. You are both genteel, reserved, academic folk, not ones prone to cracking open a door.
And
There was a bit where I was like getting to present, but then it's too much.
And Gareth will look maybe slightly affronted at this, and Gertie will look quite affronted at this, because she is a formidable lady and could break down all of the doors that she wanted to. Well, with her energy that she uses for smashing the patriarchy. But they will begrudgingly accept what you have said.
Okay. Secondly, thank you both for not kicking off. Secondly,
There's still time.
there is the matter of the auction, in which the final item of your collection was acquired. Now, Gareth, you claim that Gertrude took this final item, and Gertrude, you claim that Gareth took this final item, yet neither of you have it in your possession. I put it to you that a third party has taken the bottle, and that the same third party then went to get the rest of the collection from both of your homes.
And Gareth will say, well, I suppose that could be plausible if we are to take Gertrude at her worth.
Well, I can tell you, and again, no disrespect to either member, but I've been to both of your homes. And aside from a general difficulty in assessing where anything is in either of your homes, I could not see hide nor hair of any of the bottles that were mentioned, only that the both had been broken into, quite clearly. And both made similar claims about this auction situation. So, do either of you have an enemy that you think maybe would be working against both of you?
And they look at each other, and then they sort of look at Timothy as their shared acquaintance.
I knew it!
And then they both sort of go, no.
Nicholas draws a pistol on Timothy.
What have you got against Timothy? We love Timothy.
The very reason I suggested having it in his home. No, it's not really.
Taking a brandy like his hand shaking. Couldn't possibly imagine. There are not so many people in the country who share our very niche research interests. I certainly don't have any enemies that I'm aware of, beyond the obvious. Gareth? And he'll say, no.
Well, you mentioned your shared niche interests. It just so happens that not only does it intersect with interests of Timothy's over there, hello Timothy, but also with mine own. Don't know why I said mine own. I don't know where this voice is going.
I feel like I'm getting the uncanny sensation that the voice is kind of like the voice is controlling you rather than the way around.
How could they know that? In an interest in ancient artifacts and the folklore associated with it. Now, you mentioned these witch bottles. Is there any stories, any folklore that you two, with your combined vast knowledge, would know about what would happen, or any stories of any person or anything else that would want to collect them back together again?
They are. And they'll both sort of start to speak at the same time. And then make an after you gesture to Gareth, and he'll kind of tell you. They are an old tradition, dating before the witch trials, obviously. Very, very old, usually, but the examples that we have are old. There are more recent examples, but the ones that we are aware of, very few ever passed into private hands. The idea behind them was that if you had a powerful witch or sorcerer, you could, after they'd passed on, their remains would be split across the bottles, and then after a length of time, a relative could revive them and would once again gain access to their power. Or another sorcerer may do so, and share their knowledge. There is a legend that at certain secret societies there are rooms of these bottles where some of the most fearsome and powerful sorcerers in the British Isles had their remains held, in case one day they could return, or so that they may be kept safely away from the rest of us mere mortals.
Interesting. Very interesting. And so this would be a kind of immortality, perhaps, for those involved, or would it be merely the power of this deceased witch or sorcerer that would return to the person who had reunited them? Theoretically, of course.
Theoretically. You say you have an interest in folklore, you'll know of ghosts.
Yes. Does he know about ghosts? Is there a Vaesen lore of ghosts?
There probably is.
Oh,
but,
okay.
But he's speaking kind of broadly.
Right, okay, cool.
A ghost is a soul that is passed on. Its body has died, and the spirit remains. Witch bottles, enough of the body remains, the spirit may be called, may be harnessed, but to truly use its power, a new vessel must be found.
Interesting. And a lot of the time art can imitate life. No, wait, it's the other way around. A lot of the time life can imitate art. And people will get these stories, powerful, ancient stories, and put faith in them, and decide to enact on certain elements of them. And my worry here is something along these lines is what's taken place. So, the individual that was in the collected vases that you had put together, do you know who it was in your collection? Are there any stories about who was there?
And they'll look at each other and shrug. Say, little is known about them. And Gertie will kind of interrupt, and she'll say, they were... You have to understand, these are legends. The bottles for us as collectors, yes, they are interesting, but they are artifacts. They are objects. As tempting as it is to think that we can understand who may have used them, I'm sorry, my dear chap, we don't. That's not their purpose to us. So I'm afraid we can't tell you.
Can't tell if either of them are living.
Can you make what I guess would be an empathy check.
It would be a observation check.
Yes. Make whatever check you deem most appropriate from your sheet.
Is 6. He's recently gotten slightly better at observation. But not good enough. No successes.
You can't tell if they're fibbing necessarily, but I hesitate to use the word con man. But a smooth operator like Nicholas would sort of be aware that they have come to you for help and they are sad that the bowls have gone. They don't have a reason to keep anything like that secret from you.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. Well then, in that case, I feel with this information, I'm hoping that the two of you will be able to perhaps put your enmity aside for a little while and put your faith in me, that I will have a look for this third party and see if I can find out, perhaps if I go to the auction house and find out who it was indeed who actually took the item, that might be my best lead. But I thought I'd check with the two of you first. But please put aside your differences for some time, at least in this matter, and I will, with all haste, try to come to a resolution for this matter.
And they'll sort of nod and thank you.
Thank you both. Tim will show you out. And turn to the fire dramatically.
You say show you out, there's like the door and then the front door.
Yeah.
So he'll show them out before they go. Gertie will sort of clasp her hands together and pat Timothy on the shoulder before she leaves. And you'll sort of hear them as they leave starting to bicker as they pass the front door.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, Tim, what do you make of all that?
It's rather odd, isn't it? Let me just check I've locked the front door. I don't think I have any witch bottles, but I'd hate to have somebody break in.
One of them, I don't remember which one, mentioned that secret societies might have rooms full of these jars. Any secret societies that you or I might be aware of would have rooms full of these witch jars?
If they did, I can't say that I've ever been invited to view them.
In your informed opinion, do you think it's more likely that the Linnaean Society or the other one?
Did we give the other one a name? I don't know.
I don't know if we did. It was just the society.
I quite like the idea of the other society.
It
sounds quite ominous.
Yeah. Would the Linnaean Society or the other society be more likely to have one of these vaults of British witches?
Oh, well,
warlocks?
The Linnaean Society, most of our information is available. The other society is a little more selective in terms of what they allow access to. They might.
Would Nicholas know, or will he have to ask Timothy, about the relation between the Linnaean Society and the other society? Like, is there? Can we pop over? Can we share the library? Is it one of those situations, or is it?
So, you will have asked this question in the past, and it'll take a little while to unpick the answer.
Right.
The other society is similar to the Artemis Society that you would have been part of back home in Sweden.
Yeah.
They are kind of the power behind the throne. They're the ones who hold all of the cards.
Yeah.
The Linnaean Society is much more of their publicly facing branch.
Right, okay.
So what I would say is that Nicholas is obviously an agent, or is working closely with the other society, so has access to their resources. Timothy works for the Linnaean Society, is aware of the other society, but with his interest leaning more towards the academic, rather than the political, doesn't really tend to get involved with it as much.
Okay, cool. I think the other thing that he would want to ask of Timothy is, yes, have you any tales of these witch jars in any of your many books that you have there, or anything about, if I smash one, will that be situation resolved? If I put them together in one room, are we good to get some sort of demigod in the room with us? Like, what? Any idea what the situation is with these?
No, the witch jars, from what I understand, they are dark magic, pagan rituals, but not of the earthly kind, of the wickeder kind. And from what I understand, there are the effects of the witch bottles are as varied as the witches that went into them. Some can be used to share knowledge, some went around possessing people, some simply came back and lived longer lives.
So it depends on who's in there, I guess.
I imagine that if somebody has decided that now is the time to revive one of these sorcerers, they must have a reason.
Yes. Is there any prophecies, foretellings of great returns in this year, or anything along those lines?
So Timothy will go away and he'll have he'll get like maybe some pamphlets down and, you know, witches of Norfolk and
yeah.
and he'll be kind of skimming through and he'll say, there isn't really anything. The big returns, as it were, that I've been able to find, they're all flashy and dramatic and full of death and curses and ill omens. This is more breaking into kind of Gertie and Gareth, scaring the dog. Does it feel like the work of a great sorcerer to you?
No, but I don't really hold much stock for great sorcerers, to be honest. I had a question a moment ago.
I'm quite drunk, Timothy.
I'm quite drunk, Timothy. It's the fourth glass of whiskey I've dramatically thrown into the fire today. Oh, that was it. Yeah, it's a pretty obvious one. So, are there any, critters, little things that only we see that are associated with these witch jars? Is there a witch jar goblin or ghoulie or something that might... Seems like the kind of thing they're into.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, how about... Actually, no, I was going to ask you for a favour. I'm going to ask you for a different favour. Your night's not done yet, old Tim. The circles that you enjoy frequenting, collectibles, knickknacks from ancient times, deadly jars of witches and whatnot that you seem to collect. The auction houses that deal with these, are there... do you happen to have any connections to the auctioneer? That's the term. That's the real term. There we go. Took me a minute there in my brain to find that one.
I quite enjoyed ancient knickknacks. Yes. Bear with me, old chap. He'll go to the other room. You'll hear him kind of rummaging around in his desk, and he'll come back with a auction catalogue.
Cool.
A leaflet. And he'll kind of flick through and he'll show you the page and the listing of earthenware jar, British
Witches. Question mark.
Evil? Question mark. And you'll see that it is for an auctioneer called Smiths and Bees.
Smiths and Bees. You mentioned Smiths and Bees, actually. Yeah. The question specifically, because I think Gertie said it was Smith and Bees, was the auction. Does Timothy know the auctioneer? Is there any chance that they are on terms with them?
No, unfortunately not. You could call on them though, I should imagine. I don't. I tend to borrow and purchase small items. I don't have the kind of disposable income that allows me to make frequent purchases at Smiths and Bees that Gertie and Gareth both enjoy.
Oh, you'll get there, yeah. Tim, don't you worry. Keep at it. Trade up and all that business.
Not if you keep drinking all my brandy.
This is brandy? Damn it, man, I thought it was whiskey. So, with that, is it reasonable? This is outside of the game. Is it reasonable to ask Timothy to research the jars for me, that Vaesen are related to the jars for me, whilst I go off and do other things, or is that being too cheeky? Within the bounds of the game, I've asked a lot of him today, to be fair.
You could ask him, but make me an empathy check or empathy observation.
Okay. The other alternative was I was looking to go to the other society, and whilst there, I could potentially use their library to search it myself. Is it a straightforward empathy?
Yeah.
Not okay. No successes.
These dice work. They don't seem very.
There you go.
They work for me.
They work for you.
Because the people believe in Timothy. The gods of the dice.
Nicholas is a wangler. He's not a dice roller.
Not a dice roller.
He'll roll the dice when he knows it's in his favour. Assurances have been made.
So, from that roll, and from your long acquaintance, you can tell that Timothy is bloody knackered.
Okay.
He's been peopling a lot. Nicholas.
Been peopling a lot, yeah.
God bless him. Also a lot. A lot of aggro vibes in his parlour.
In that case, he will see the Tim for the condition he's in. I'm going to put an arm on his shoulder. Well, Tim, you've done good work today, bringing me on in this case. Well done, and for bringing them both here this evening and helping with unraveling this. I'm glad there's no prophecies. I was a little bit worried that these jars could spell doom for London and England and the Linnaean Society and whatnot, but it seems to be not that much of a worry. So, but we'll crack on with it just in case there is something along those lines. I'm going to go to Smith and Bees tomorrow and see if I can find out who the item was sold to. But before then, I think I shall inquire at the other society to see, just in case they've got any jars missing or anything along those lines. You rest up, take it easy, read one of your books, and I'll maybe call on you tomorrow if I need any help.
Oh, cheers, old chap. Good night. Then he'll kind of shove you towards the door.
My coat. Yeah, bye.
So it's a very long speech. So he's like,
It's the fondant goodbye. Out into the night, I guess. Is it evening time?
Well, I suppose it was evening time before. I'd say it's probably about 11 o'clock now.
Would Nicholas know if that's too late to call upon? Is it a nocturnal venue? The other society.
There are always people in. It's not going to be the hive of activity, but
that's probably a better idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll determine himself to go and head over to the other society and see if he can find anything there.
Cool. When you get there, pretty quiet. There are a few little lights on. Hear people kind of talking, the odd rooms in low voices, but it's not as busy and impressive as it is during the day.
Is it kind of like a London gentleman club type, like a high society club, or is it like an office place, or like what kind of vibe is there, I guess?
It's sort of a mix between a club, a social club, and a university library.
Okie dokie.
And I think that's probably the closest thing. Yeah, I'd say probably like half social club, quarter library, quarter fancy house building with rooms where people can stay and things like that.
Nice. Is there a librarian or maybe not a receptionist? Seems a bit too mundane, I guess. But
there's a footman.
Footman, cool. We'll approach the footman. Hello, my good footman. Good evening to you. I was wondering if anybody was around to help me with an inquiry.
I can do my best, sir.
I'm looking into... how's he best going to say this? Although I guess he's in the other side, so it doesn't really matter that much, does it, I guess? So yeah. I'm looking into sorcerers and witches. Is there any expert in those areas that you might have about this evening?
Not about this evening, sir. We do have Mr. I was going to say Mr. Kendall, but that's from the Pendle Witch Trials, the Kendall Witch Trials. We do have the doctor, sir, but he's, I believe he's up north at the moment.
Oh, shame. How about collections, logs of collections of things like any kind of objects related to the witches, to sorcerers, witch jars, that kind of thing?
And he'll be looking really confused at you, and when you say witch jars, his eyes will go wide and he'll kind of go, witch jars, sir?
Yes, collections, old thing. They used to put them into... A friend of mine has been collecting and wanted to make sure that none of them had gone missing and accidentally into their possession.
And at that, he will go almost pale and he'll say, "One moment, sir." And he'll scurry off, and you'll sort of hear him coming back a few minutes later, like with very quick footsteps. And somebody else is with him.
Cool.
So he has brought a butler butler.
Is that the footman's boss?
The footman's boss.
Okay.
Head of the household.
And Nicholas will greet him with a smile, like this is all part of the process. And
he has been with this. I feel like he needs a name that's not Nicholas, which is the name I was thinking of.
Pennyworth.
We can call him Pennyworth.
That's Batman's butler, by the way.
Is that Pennyworth?
Yeah, Alfred Pennyworth. Oh. Sorry.
I thought you were helping. Why did I think you were helping? We'll call him Sterling.
Sterling's very good.
And Sterling is an older gentleman who is part and parcel of the other society and considers you to be something of an interloper.
Ooh. Good evening, Mr. Sterling. Do I know his name? Are we acquainted in some level?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Then he'll say, "Good evening, Mr. Sterling."
Mr. Fondat, I understand that you're looking for something.
Well, looking for something not being missing, I suppose, is more accurate. I know that collections of sorts are very important to the society and to the other society as well, and making sure that the collections remain complete. I have heard rumours of there being items out in the market. I wanted to make sure that none of the important collections that we have gone missing.
And he'll draw himself up like, "Oh, I can't imagine, sir. You know that we have many, many, many important collections here in the other place. When you say whole collections going missing, do you really think that's realistic, sir?"
Well, you tell me, Sterling, is it important to check on these things? If these were to get out, would it be a minor infringement, do you feel?
Manipulation check.
it's true that, you shouldn't lose a nuclear weapon, but if one's rumored to be missing, do you think you should check? Manipulation. It's 5. It wasn't a lie, so it doesn't get any bonuses. 3 1s as well. No successes.
He's not falling for that bullshit. And what is it you believe has gone missing, sir?
He'll come clean in that case, I think, and say, well, a collection of witch jars are rumoured to be out on the market. And I've heard rumour that one of them, or one collection of them, may have been stolen, even collected by a third party. And I just wanted to check the logs, or maybe perhaps you, Mr. Sterling, could check the logs for me to make sure that nothing of the similar ilk had happened here.
I just roll all the dice because I can.
You get to roll all the dice.
This is why I get more successes. So weird. Mr. Fondant.
Fondat.
Mr. Fondat.
Thank you, Mr. Sterling.
The reason why we keep such important collections here, sure you can appreciate, man of your caliber, that there are always those who are looking to seek an advantage or who can't be trusted. We keep them here because we know that we can protect important artifacts that are worthy of protection, and part of the way we do that is by carefully and discriminately determining who will be allowed access to them and who will be allowed to access even our logs. I'm sure you understand.
Yes, well, I understand that in cases such as these, it would be prudent not to let anyone else access the logs of such delicate and potentially dangerous items. I think he's going to keep ramping up the description of them being dangerous, potentially, to see if he gets corrected. So he can get an idea of what the deal is with these, if that makes sense. Because if someone's talking about water pistols and you keep talking about how dangerous they are, I feel like someone would be like, or someone like Sterling would be like, what are you talking about? These aren't dangerous. That's no problem. But if he keeps mentioning the dangerous, I'm hoping that'll be not get corrected to kind of give him an idea like what that means. Which I thought I'll lay out on the table for you what he's doing. Well, in that case, Mr. Sterling, I mean, for my peace of mind, and perhaps even for your own, if you were able to check the list for me to make sure that none have gone missing, and if you could let me know, it would help me sleep easier, as I know it is of great importance of you for the society to run smoothly and calm and rested, and it would help me endlessly to know that none of them have gone missing from here. In the meantime, perhaps your friend here, and kind of give a big smile to the footman, will be willing to show me to any research that might be available on the history of these items, just to make sure that the ones that I have heard of out there, just to reference check that these aren't the ones that would potentially be dangerous out there.
What skills have you got?
He's got manipulation, empathy, observation, empathy, investigation, vigilance.
Maybe another empathy check. Go on. I believe in you. You can do it.
Straight empathy or any other?
Use all the dice.
Use all
the dice. I believe in you.
It would be 6 for observation empathy, which is kind of like an insight check type thing.
Yeah.
Cool. A good pickle. Hey, one success.
Mr. Fondat, your sleep really isn't my concern, sir. This is very late, and Jimmy here, he gestures to Footman, was just about to retire for the evening. Perhaps if you were to call again at a more reasonable hour, with a more reasonable request.
More reasonable request if you were to come another time and want something completely different.
Perhaps in those circumstances one might be able to be more accommodating. But alas, those are not the circumstances.
Well, Jimmy and Mr. Sterling, do remember that I came here and I asked these questions, and you decided not to assist me. I do pray, for the sake of this society, and indeed of your job, that nothing comes of these rumours.
So, Jimmy,
Yeah.
bricking it.
Yeah. Just fully sailed up Jimmy to be like to vouch for the situation. His boss versus the facts.
He's like 19 and he looks like he's about to cry. Sterling looks... His face is completely impassive. His eyes are twinkling.
With romance.
He would love for you to try and get him fired.
Well, if that is all, I'm not able to make any progress this evening. Perhaps I will just take a room if that's okay.
Certainly, sir.
So tempted to be like, see to it, butler, but he's not going to go that far.
And he will show you to a room.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine.
It's fine.
You stayed here, I think, when you first came to London.
Yes.
So you know that there's a set of suites which are kind of very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's some other rooms at the back. Here are the other rooms at the back.
I think that's reasonable considering it asked at like 11 p.m. at night for a room, and I've severely pissed off the butler and implicated him. Thank you, as a as a co-conspirator, perhaps, if anything were to go wrong based on these jobs. My thinking was, if he didn't want to act because of any level of propriety or just doesn't like me, perhaps he'll enact to preserve his own job.
How could he not like Nicholas?
How could anyone not like Nicholas? Exactly.
The very unique brand of persuasion that Nicholas employs.
And he doesn't have the numbers to back it up.
I mean, to be fair, that's with your extra stuff now, isn't it?
He's got one extra in observation, and I took a talent, which is like a feat in D&D style, that gives me an extra 2 to any deceptive rolls, and he doesn't lie enough. After I've realised he's a con man that bends the truth, he doesn't lie. So I think the next time I get the opportunity to get one of these talents or feats or whatnot, I'm going to see if I can.
I mean, I will take bending the truth as a lie, because you can have a lie of omission.
But there might be one in there that's like con man-y type, you know.
Yeah, maybe have a look through before we next.
But I don't think anything I've said today has been a lie. Nothing that I would, because it's deceptive roles, and I don't think any of them were particularly deceptive. They were just specific and cheeky. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, he'll show you up to the room. He would have, for your awareness, he would have treated you the same if you were asking to see a log of the house's silver.
I mean, he's probably more at risk with that with Nicholas, to be fair.
Doesn't like Nicholas, doesn't trust him, is not going to let you near any of the secret collections.
I think the most important thing we've learned here is that somewhere in Nicholas's stay, when he first moved over, he first arrived from Sweden, something happened with him and Sterling, which has caused this, or maybe just a series of things. But I like that there's that history there between him and Sterling now. Maybe Sterling was instrumental in getting Nicholas moved over to the Linnaean Society rather than the other society.
I feel he would have suggested heavily that Nicholas make use of the research facilities available there.
Yeah. So, no access to vaults of witch jars, no access to logs of vaults of witch jars, no access to books about logs, about vaults, about witch jars. So, all in all, not the best trip to the other society from Nicholas, but I do feel like that is fully what Nicholas may have expected from this venture, which is fair enough.
He's knackered after a long evening, because I mean, before this whole started, like, he was just eating his dinner. Like...
True. I think, his general feelings about the situation was like he got asked for a favour by Timothy, and Timothy's done him quite a few favours, so he kind of feels obligated to do it. But he has found two geriatric artificers, essentially, or academics, who are battling each other for collection of something called witch jars and claiming they've broken into other houses, which is clearly the case of a third thing, and it's got him excited. Like he's eager for this case much more than he was for the lighthouse case, because it's an intrigue. It's his private detective.
The mystery.
The mystery, exactly. Yeah. So I feel like whereas he went to bed resigned on that first night on Eileen Moor, he's going to bed excited in this one, for even having been frustrated by Mr. Sterling. He is in a position where, like, I'm going to crack this one. I'm going to find out what's going on here, and yeah.
It's almost made it maybe more intriguing to him that Sterling isn't going to let him access any of the information, because it means that there's something to uncover. And
it's on his home turf as well, so this is all tea in front of the fire and access to libraries. Like, it's all his in London, it's all his stuff, kind of thing. So yeah, this is jam. He's keen. Good. So thank you for playing. Thank you very much for running. It's been another very enjoyable session running around London. Well, not running around London so much as poking around Timothy's house for a while. Strolling around London. Strolling around the nice bit of London. Yeah. Posing in front of the fire in Timothy's house. Brooding. Yeah. Got a brandy glass in one hand in front of the fire and leaning over the mantelpiece like, there is an answer to this. I'll find this. So we will commence our... recommence. Continue, if you will, our Gaslamp adventure next time. Thank you very much for listening. I've been Ali, Ghost of Sunny, on various channels. And I've been JStation64. Thank you and goodbye. Bye-bye.